Hours before dawn, inside a maximum security prison once believed to be escape-proof, flames erupt in cell 35, guards break through the smoke and find a burned body lying on the mattress. Within hours, officials declare the inmate dead, case closed. But weeks later, a detail buried in the forensic report rewrites everything. The DNA doesn't match. If the man who died in that cell wasn't the prisoner, then where is the real one? Tonight, we uncover the most astonishing prison escape in South African history, the case of a convicted murderer who faked his own death. Welcome back to Mindweb Crime Stories, where every case is rebuilt using publicly available records, verified journalism, and official statements. And today's episode takes us inside one of the most shocking escapes ever documented. This is Escape and Betrayal, the Thabo Bester prison break. Before the escape ever made headlines, Thabo Bester was already one of South Africa's most notorious criminals. In 2012, he was sentenced to life imprisonment after being convicted of rape and murder. Long before that verdict, media reports had already labeled him the Facebook rapist, a man who used fake online modeling offers to lure women to isolated locations where he assaulted them. His crimes left a trail of fear, anger, and grief across the country. But once inside Mangaung Correctional Center, Bester didn't fade into the background. Public reporting later revealed that he built a secret life behind bars, running online businesses through smuggled phones, directing associates on the outside, and maintaining communication networks that authorities failed to detect for years. And among the people connected to him was a figure who would soon become central to the entire scandal, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. She was a well-known aesthetics doctor in Johannesburg, celebrated on social media, featured in magazines, and regarded as a rising public figure. Their relationship, documented later through public investigations, leaked records, and court testimony, grew into a partnership that blurred the lines between romance, manipulation, and criminal collaboration. Together, they would lay the groundwork for an escape so elaborate, so humiliating for the prison system, that it would ignite national outrage and expose deep cracks in South Africa's correctional oversight. May 3, 2022. Just after 3 a.m., alarms echo through Mangaung Correctional Center, a privately operated maximum security prison long considered one of the most fortified facilities in South Africa. Smoke is pouring from cell 35. When guards force their way inside, they find a body burned beyond recognition, lying on the mattress. Within hours, officials announce the inmate is dead. On paper, the case seems simple: a fire, a fatality, and the end of Thabo Bester's time behind bars. But from the very first moments, something feels wrong. Public reports later revealed that the CCTV footage from the night of the fire was mysteriously incomplete, key angles were missing, recordings appeared disrupted, and sections from crucial time windows were simply not there. Witnesses inside the prison would eventually testify that a vehicle entered the facility earlier that evening, at an hour when outside visits or deliveries were not typically allowed. Its purpose, and the people inside it, were never fully explained. When forensic results surfaced in public documents months later, they showed that the body, referred to officially as the deceased found in cell 35, displayed injuries inconsistent with a death caused solely by a fire. There were signs suggesting the individual may have been dead before the flames ever started. Despite these red flags, officials quickly declared that the body was Thabo Bester. The remains were handed over to Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, who, according to visitor logs and media reporting, had been visiting Bester frequently in the months prior. She attempted to claim the body, describing herself as his customary wife, a claim later disputed in official statements. But what the public didn't know, what even many inside government didn't yet realize, was that Bester was not in that cell when the fire started. He had already slipped through one of the most secure facilities in the country, and the burned body left behind was not the man serving a life sentence. It was someone else. With the revelation that the body in cell 35 was not Thabo Bester, the investigation shifts from a routine review to a national manhunt. What began as a single forensic anomaly quickly unravels into one of the most shocking security failures in South African history. And, as officials retrace Bester's last confirmed movements, they also begin digging into the lives of the two people now at the center of the storm. Public records and verified reporting show that Thabo Bester, already infamous as the Facebook rapist, had built a pattern of manipulation long before his escape. Convicted of rape, murder, and fraud, he was known for luring victims online, using fake business profiles and high-status personas. Even behind bars, reports indicate he continued attempting to run scams, posing as a media executive, contacting women, and leveraging people on the outside to maintain influence. Investigators also revisit the background of Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. According to widely reported and publicly accessible information, she was once a respected medical doctor and entrepreneur, celebrated for her aesthetics practice and online following. Her public profile portrayed success, discipline, and luxury. But financial records later revealed mounting debts, business strain, and a sudden shift in behavior around the time she reconnected with Bester. Family members and former colleagues quoted in major media reports described her transformation as unrecognizable. These two paths, Bester's history of deception and Nandipha's dramatic change, begin to look less like coincidence and more like alignment. The investigation expands. Crime scene specialists re-examine the cell. Fire experts confirm inconsistencies between the burn patterns and the supposed cause of death. Leaked autopsy details, widely covered in news outlets, reveal injuries suggesting the deceased was already dead before the fire even started. Then, investigators track digital footprints, phone records, financial transactions, property rentals, and transportation logs. Several point toward Nandipha, and to unexplained movements in the weeks before and after the fire. Still, confirmation remains elusive. That is, until a single supermarket photograph surfaces. A man, tall, hooded, trying to avert his face from cameras. When analyzed against Bester's existing images, investigators grow confident. The man in the disguise is the fugitive they believed had burned to death months earlier. And just like that, the case shifts from a suspicious death to a full-scale, international pursuit. With mounting public pressure and a trail of inconsistencies too large to ignore, South African authorities escalate the manhunt. Verified reports show that by early 2023, investigators had pieced together enough digital and financial evidence to map the movements of both fugitives, bank activity, cross-border travel attempts, rental payments for luxury properties under assumed identities. Each clue narrowed the search. Interpol issues formal red notices, public international alerts confirming both Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandipha Magudumana as wanted fugitives. For a man once believed to have died inside a locked prison cell, the development is staggering. Now every airport, border post, and patrol checkpoint across multiple countries is on alert. According to official statements from the South African Police Service and Tanzania's authorities, the breakthrough comes in April 2023. Surveillance tracking leads investigators to a town near the Kenyan border. The couple had allegedly been moving between hotels, using different passports, some legitimate, some reportedly fraudulent, trying to stay ahead of detection. Their vehicle, a black SUV later shown in news reports, becomes the key identifier that alerts Tanzanian police. When officers close in, there's no dramatic chase, no gunfire. Instead, publicly released details confirm that the fugitives are quietly detained during what appeared to be an attempt to cross into another country. Inside the vehicle tracks bags, documentation, and items consistent with preparation for a long escape. For the first time in nearly a year, the man who faked his own fiery death is in handcuffs again. Under tight security, shackles, armed escorts, and strict transport protocols, Bester is flown back to South Africa. Cameras capture his arrival, bulletproof vests, armored vehicles, and officers forming a protective corridor. And right beside him, the once celebrated doctor, whose fall from grace became as shocking as the escape itself, returned in custody, facing her own charges. It is the moment the nation had been waiting for. The facade collapses. The fugitives are caught. After their return to South Africa, the legal fallout began almost immediately. According to official court filings and public statements from the National Prosecuting Authority, Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandipha Magudumana were each charged with multiple counts, including fraud, corruption, defeating the ends of justice, violating immigration laws, and, in Magudumana's case, aiding and abetting a convicted murderer in his escape. Parliament convened urgent hearings. Verified testimony from correctional officials private prison executives, and police leadership revealed a chain of failures inside Mangaung Correctional Center, failures described in government reports as systemic, negligent, and deeply compromising. Several G4S prison employees, including a supervisor and wardens on duty during the night of the fire, were suspended or arrested based on evidence linking them to the staging of the escape. For South Africans, the scandal became more than a headline. It was a national reckoning, a reminder of how easily power, money, and influence can twist the foundations of justice. And then came the most chilling revelation, confirmed through public forensic analysis. The burned body found in cell 35 did not die in the fire. It belonged to an unidentified man taken from a local mortuary, a victim murdered and used as a decoy so Bester could walk out of a maximum security prison under the disguise of death. The aftermath left the country stunned, a prison system exposed, a doctor's career shattered, and a convicted killer, who once vanished in flames, returned to face the consequences. If the Thabo Bester saga left you stunned, just wait. Our next investigation dives into the life of a serial predator who reinvented himself under a new identity for decades, quietly living among the very families he once terrorized. His neighbors knew him as a friendly handyman, until one routine background check exposed the truth he'd buried for years. That story is right here, if you're ready. If this episode gripped you, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new case built entirely from verified public records and official statements. And join us next week when we uncover another true crime story that is just as shocking, complex, and unforgettable. Thank you for watching Mindweb Crime Stories.